Alright guys, in my last game covered for the day, we've got TaToH here in the lower side of the map in the red trunks as the Gojres, a nice cavalry civ with some extra forage bushes, so a bit of extra starting macro. You can even garrison your herdables in your mill to get that nice food tick. So it's actually a mechanic picked up from Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, believe it or not. Which actually runs off the same engine as the original AoE 2 as well. Just for a bit of trivia. On the top side, we've got Villese. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. Sorry, I'm just an Aussie. I'm an Anglophone, so my pronunciation of anything not Anglo is pretty ordinary. You've got him on the Chinese civilization, so spawning with those extra villages. Not needing to go for the starting house as early either. But no cool new age old school mechanics involving his sheep. So we're here in the T90 Titans League Season 2, one of the Platinum League games. This is their game 2 in their, it's not a best of 3, it's a play all 3 series. So in the group stages, even if you were down 2-0 in the series, you played out the third game anyway, the dead rubber, because it still counted for your map score. So depending on how you went, if you got 3-0'd obviously, you weren't going to go through the next round, or at least have to play in the elimination games, as much as someone who is at least going to get 2-1 in their lost series, which is sort of the idea. I do like it, and I do like the idea of best of 2, well, play all 2, I suppose. The same sort of deal in group stage games. I come from AoEO, where unfortunately never really gotten to play in a tournament that's worked that way. It's always just been the boring old school elimination best of 3 and best of 5. So yeah, Villese on his Chinese, nice archer civ. So let's see how these guys fare against one of the newer cavalry civs. So we're going to have wicked camels and elephants in the late game. Villese's late game scorpions and his food eco will be exceptional. And bearing in mind our players might not necessarily get to utilise these things or necessarily want to. The map today, we're here on, this is the Titans League Ghost Lake, so there is these skills of fish in the center. I don't know how you're going to go at fishing off. Can you build? I don't know if you can actually build on this ice shallows. I think you might be, I don't know, I don't think you can build anything on it. Because I think the point of Ghost Lake is that you can't build anything on the shallows. And historically it used to be herdables, I think. Not so sure about AoE 2, but I know in AOM and AoEO, Ghost Lake, historically it's herdables in the center. This one it looks like it's little shorefish, but again, if you can't put a mill down here, it's kind of useless, because if you've got to put it here, the travel time to get to it sort of undoes the increased gather rate of the shorefish. So just little map trivia that probably is of no benefit to you unless you're 400 elo. Or what the fuck, it might come in useful in those 1 in a million 1400 elo games. Players just working towards age 2, no one's gone for an early barracks just yet, but Villese is going to start walling himself in. Camel Scout was really cool. So were they added in DE? Are they a DE edition, Camel Scouts? They look sick though, but they do look a little bit like Camel Riders. So you got to be careful with that. You don't want shit to look too samey. And I suppose it's harder in the AoE's not like AoEO, where shit just inherently isn't as flashy and isn't as large a model. I mean, AoE 4 is probably the worst of that, like the models in it are the smallest. And then in AoE 3, everything feels like a unit with a rifle, so it can be a bit hard to tell them apart sometimes without sort of clicking on groups of units. But I suppose the more familiar you are with a game, the less it matters, and the worse it feels when you're playing the other games, because you just inherently don't know what shit does as well. So stables here for TaToH. Villese getting barracks to finish his wall off there. So I wonder what his next step for production is going to be here. I suppose if he hunkers down well enough, I was going to say, if he hunkers down well enough, he probably only needs to worry about an early barracks until his opponent gets something other than cavalry on the field, but Villese is going to go for that range. Spear going to be able to take a nice fight against Scout Cav. Well, Scout Cav chasing another lower one. So this is potential to go either way, but TaToH has the quicker supporting unit here. He's going to have the advantage as this goes on because he... Oh no, here we go, there's the archer. In saying that, you need a couple of archers to really have a bit of an impact against the Cav, because they've got enough of a health pool. One archer's not going to take them down quickly, while they'll take it down really quickly. So Villese just stacking the rest of his archers up in the range there while he's finishing his wall up. And TaToH going to try and prod at the wall up. He's already got loom, so he's going to finish his own wall up here. Bloody wolf. Will be a bit of a pest, but don't know if Villese's going to be able to poke at TaToH in time here, but whoa, there's actually a space there that Villese hasn't noticed until too late. Now TaToH's in. He's actually managed to nab a couple of villages here, not quick walled properly in time here, so this is looking a little bit rough for them. So Villese gonna drop a couple of villages here. Meanwhile, looks like TaToH is going to be able to finish off the wall up there. And so Villese down 3 or 4 villages overall there. That's really rough, but he is able to push his opponent out of his base. And is at least forcing TaToH to have to wall in a little extra here. And that villager... Ooh, he's going to be able to get the blacksmith finished up enough that this isn't really going to be a problem. Another villager's going to have to come over and finish the job, perhaps. But yeah, Villese dropping 3 vills there. It's a bit unfortunate. Like, to me, it looked like there was a tree there in the gap there, but ultimately there wasn't. So he didn't palisade it in time. He went back to try and palisade it later, but TaToH snuck through the gap. It's funny how many games at this level were that sort of the highlight of age 2. It's that slight slip in the wall off, and mostly because the map just looks tricky and it looks like it's tree lined off, and it's not. But these guys are top level players, so they probably should know a little bit better. No offense to Villese though, and it seems like he has sprung back into action here. But this little force over here, he's probably going to drop that archer while he tries to combine the rest of his army. And for now, he does still have a slight military count advantage over TaToH. Have to find an opportunity to get in here with his cavalry. Sorry, I'm glad this headset has a mute button. I was just sneezing my fucking head off there. So now, Villese has TaToH's army on the run, but at the same time it's a bit of a stall tactic because pulling him away from the base. He's not really dropping any army particularly quickly, but he's having to engage tentatively here because he does have a range disadvantage. He does pick off a spearman there, but at looks like now with that 4th and now a 5th skirmisher in the mix, you should be able to chip away at the archers long enough that Villese is going to have to back off here and pick up the next round of archers he's got and try and transition to the stables. I think our players will probably want to be going to Castle Age in about 3 to 5 villages time here at the absolute most. I'm saying that if they've got to keep committing... Oh, there we go. Yeah, they're both getting Castle Age now. I was sort of expecting them to possibly shoot up to 40 villages before going to Castle, but I think right now the imperative is on just making sure you can maintain this mid-map pressure without having to commit more to army and without possibly losing your army here. So if you can get Castle Age upgrades in, perhaps a tad quicker than some of the other Castle Ages, but players, you're going to get there, and at least you're going to have to want to pair through this. Skirmisher's not able to do a huge amount of damage to him. More archers being trained up by Villese here. He's getting Scout Cav and Bloodlines, which will be a good benefit because it will benefit both them and a Knight transition should he go for it. TaToH in the meanwhile, adding more Camel Scouts. So Camel Scouts, they just upgrade into Camel Riders. Sorry, I'll just check that quickly. Well, they do too, so that's pretty cool. Right now, TaToH not wanting to engage because his own Scout Cap going to run headlong into Spearman if he does. And he's picked them all off, so he could able to make a bit of a crackback here, but he's going to have to try and beeline the archers. Well, the Scout Cap going to be able to pick off skirmishers potentially, but players back off for the moment. There's a bunch eco-techs now for our players with TaToH. These Castle Age food and wood techs. Now, Camel Riders on the field for our players as well. So Chinese has access to Camel Riders, but I don't believe they've got access to the Camel Scouts as such. It need not matter now because Villese pushing out with crossbow and with Camel Riders, even getting a monk now. So we can start snatching up these relics and start healing up some units, maybe even converting some later on. TaToH, second town center, pretty safely defended, other than through this front side, but this will really be a big boon to him because he can use it sort of like a tower with garrisons. While for the moment, I have Villese, second town center, over the top side of his base, protect that goal for the same sort of reason. So rather than investing in a castle and a mining camp, you know, you go to the town center, a little bit cheaper overall, get access to more villager production. You still get most of the same benefit of being able to use it like a big fuck off tower. And Villese has a unit count advantage here. I think he's just largely trying to pull TaToH far back enough that there's not going to be any reinforcements and he can try take an engagement favourable on these skirmishers because they will counter the crossbowmen pretty handily if not microed. But there we go, the melee front line being taken down by Villese, and now he's able to clean up TaToH's range, but not before he loses his own range ball, so it's really only his camels walking out of that fight there. 4 unit types, well, 3 unit types enter, 1 type leaves. Now, skirmishers fleeing for their lives. Camels going to be not wanting to take a fight against fully health camels. And Villese going to be able to top up his units. He's picked up one of the relics, going to go for another monk so he can grab his other relics, I imagine. Well, we've got a monastery here for TaToH, so he'll be looking to do the same thing. First try and snatch up some of your relics, and then from there, if you can, try and make use of them for healing your conversions, but you've got to be careful with monks. They are not a very cheap unit. I believe they're actually 100 gold will go. Just pull that shit up, Jamie. So 100 gold for a monk. For 100 gold for 30 health before upgrades. Like, and these cunts do not even attack. 9 range, like, come on, man. It's going to take forever to actually convert anything. You can macro out of that. So, a 3rd town center for Villese. A 3rd town center for TaToH. Village accounts just favouring TaToH at the moment, but Villese, his army seems to have bounced back time and time again, even after that, you know, early loss. So Villese looking to hit. He's still got a slight military advantage, and as annoying as the skirms are going to be against his ranged are going to be more useful, the crossbowmen, when fighting against these camels. So the monk sniped for the loss of a little bit of health, but Villese, his own monks being used to top. Camels up now, he's still got the camel count over TaToH, who's having to be very careful here. Eventually one of these guys is going to discover spearmen exist. Although in saying that, it would be a lot easier for Villese to add them in because the crossbows obviously tear down spearmen super quickly, while skirmers just can't. Villese going to want to kill these monks before they get their conversions off, and I think he was unsuccessful in doing so, so he's now relying on getting some conversions of his own. But ultimately, he's cleaned up the range pool, cleaned up the monks, and his own unit comp largely still intact here, so TaToH backing off. Now it's pretty even in terms of losses, but right now, the military count definitely favours Villese, the eco count slightly favouring TaToH. Villese attempting to get a bit of structural damage done here. Try and invite his opponent to take a fight, but he otherwise might not want to. Neither player access to siege just yet. No one's gone for any workshops or castles around the map. Villese pinching one of the topside relics. Now, looks like TaToH's actually going ahead on the front line here, fighting on his own doorsteps. It does mean his unit reinforcement is a little easier than his opponent's. So a smaller front line for our players. Ooh, and that monk nearly going down. The skirm not quite able to clean up there. And now Travamsha Rider on the field. I think these guys are designed for anti-ranged. Whereabouts are they from? Jarkram 9. Okay, so these guys are anti-archer units, so it's because he's starting to struggle with that archer backline. Maybe instead of the skirms, he just goes for a mix of cavalry, Travamshas, and camel riders, because right now, Villese seems to be guarding this crossbowman ball well enough. TaToH still ahead on villages, so Even though he's very slightly behind on the kill count, I think overall his eco's in a slightly better spot. But ooh, he's actually housed at the moment and not aging up. Villese going to Imperial for the minute. TaToH just need to get a bit more food to be able to go to Imp. Now he's added more scomes in, and this time they're not really being shepherded at all by the cavalry, so they're going to go down pretty easily there, but at the same time, Villese has to contend with a lot of these Stravantia riders directly on top of the crossbows. There's enough camels here from TaToH, he might be able to clear the front line. A few of the archers surviving there. Villese holding on, even though he's had to invest in his Imperial. He's had to garrison as well and try and clean up. Stravantia rider snuck over here. Another one by TaToH. Some more by TaToH. But over rallied there. One getting picked off, but the rest now retreating. And he's going to try and unsettle this town center over here. Oh, did he not quite leave enough space for a farm there? I have to wonder if he's better off putting the market just up here, just to block from this side, and give him the space to put the farm in. So I don't think he actually has it there. It's slightly too small. Stravantia riders gonna try and sneak into the base, but ooh, there is actually a tiny gap there. Another chipping away at some villages here at Villese, so TaToH just being a bit of a pest to his opponent at the moment, forcing him to come and clean some of this up. Stravantia rider probably garrisoned there. TaToH now up by 16 villages. I don't know if there's Stravantia riders. Oh, he might be able to get 2 more vills here. Yeah, he will do so. So, camels a little slow to clean things up here. There's another one over here with only a single crossbow actually attacking him. So Villese sort of dropping the ball, not clearing this one up quickly. There we go, he finally gets him. Always drops another villager. So it's a 19 vill here for TaToH. I think that harass was successful because he did get 6 or 7 villagers in the end for only a handful of Stravantia riders. And Villese's throwing away another couple of units, rallying them across the map. So you've got to be careful with that, guys. Try not to waste reinforcement units with them being over-rallied when you decide to actually back off. Remember to actually set your rally points back with your army. Try not to throw things away, because even high-level players will make that mistake at times when the games get chaotic enough. Because they'll have the mechanics to do it, they just... it's almost impossible to just concentrate on that many things at once. I mean, unless you're the Mister or Recon. So, TaToH actually, his front line, very rough for him. Crossbows assisting the camels to really cut through that front line. Wow, Gojo's player. Not quite able to get the scomes all the way on top of those Arbalesters and finish the job. So now they're going to have to retreat. Get support from the rest of the army, but not before a handful more go down, and Villese disengages on time. So some really nice micro there. So our players creeping towards each other on the edges of the map. They can't really build on this center at all, so it'll be castles in the wall here. In fact, TaToH looking to cut Villese off from a gold line over here. This can be very crafty because Villese's looking to pinch this side gold off TaToH. I think our players, as long as they can hold this position, be pretty even in that regard. This rider really needs to jump on top of those castle builders ASAP if Villese wants to maximize his damage here. It's more of a scout by the looks of things, just running things past. The castle's going to finish off, so he's going to have to get some trebs to clear it up anyway. When there's just that many villagers, the one wouldn't be able to, you know, just stop it. It'd be able to get a couple of villagers and slow the opponent down. But he'd have to come bring it over here to come hit the stone line later anyway. But right now, TaToH, an impressive defense with skirms. You know, he's not able to really get that front line that he needs. He's seemingly broken Villese's because he's got to just cover that slight extra distance here. And now the Trebs under a lot of threat, but the main component of this army is now skirms, who really don't deal that much damage to Trebs. Skirms on maps like this can clean up a couple of villages and going to be a huge threat to that wall of Arbalester, particularly if the front line here for TaToH outnumbers Villese's, because then he can also use some of the camels to dive through the Arbalesters. Castle and siege workshop going down on the side there. It looks like TaToH attempting to get on top of those trebuchets, but at least he able to ward him off. The player's probably going to start turning up the heat here. In fact, bombards, inscription, and not too sure what the unique upgrade is. I can't remember now. Oh yeah, cheaper military units. Is that what he's going for? Oh, frontier guards. So what's that? Oh yeah, camel rider armor. Which would be really useful actually, if you can get that. Because then I don't think that Villese will be able to keep trading camel versus camel. He'll have to just basically fight with Halb, Arbs and Siege into TaToH once that upgrade is kicked in, which it has now. At least you're going to lose a bit of gathering time to all this repairing. At the same time, starting to put pressure on TaToH on this top side, and he has a lot of Trebs here now, so as long as he can defend these, he should be able to. He can probably take out that castle with these, because that's five Trebs or six? 5 Trebs versus there's only a single bombard with a second to follow over on this side. Castle with TaToH going down. He's spread himself a little bit thin here, but at the same time, TaToH getting a nice raid off here. So this will tie up some of the Halb production to come back and defend. Ooh, these guys attacking the mining camp instead of one of the villages, or just hitting the farms. But Villese able to come and grab this gold mine. TaToH's now taking the gold on this side of the map. So it's been an odd turn of events where our players have had to switch gold mines, but I think TaToH was a little bit heavier on the gold overall, so Villese, if they stay as they are across the mines, I think Villese walks away with a little bit less gold in the pocket than TaToH here. Once again, attempting to raid with Shabamsha. Some more camels over this side as well, so you can... He's going to try and force his opponent to really have to split up all these Halbs. I think Villese should be pretty safe. Well, Villese raiding TaToH for the first time in a long time, unless I've missed it. TaToH, small village lead over his opponent. I don't think it's terribly substantial though. Now the skirm's trying to take on the castle because the cavalry are taking the fire from it, and these guys can possibly stop the villagers from repairing it. I mean, they are trash units ultimately, so here we go. They are going to try and ward off all the repairers, take down this castle a little bit faster, but Villese, with a lot of reinforcements, he might be able to clean up TaToH's army here. While he's preparing to really push on that right side, so military counts favouring Villese by about 20 at the moment. He's doing just enough to hold on over here, while it looks like he's trying to push into TaToH's food eco over this side. TaToH in the meanwhile has jumped on top of the gold mine of Villese, so he's going to have to clean that up while TaToH try and hit somewhere else now. But he's done a little bit more damage to the economy of Villese. TaToH lost some houses now, so he's got to remake those ASAP. And Villese now on top of his villages, but TaToH being on top of Villese's base here. Is there enough halbs here to defend? He's taking another town centre over here on the far side, and his raids. He's got a whole bunch of halbs and arbs in here to make it very difficult for the mixed cavalry to stop them. TaToH cleaning up more villages here at the moment. Saying that there's a good number of halbs now. There's a lot of barracks here, so production of them should be quite easy. And they'll be able to cut through either of those cavalry unit types quite quickly. But in saying that, they are really mobile. It's forcing Villese to have to garrison a lot, even though he's not lost a huge amount of villages. But saying that, TaToH, these villages are going to need to be evacuated out of here very soon. It's probably better than having them all just sitting there idling trying to repair the TC, unless you're really confident you're going to turn this fight around. Because Villese creeping forward with the castle there, he'll be able to protect these trebuchets against most smaller unit skirmishers with ease. And Villese is now sort of equalised the villager population now. It's not that town centre, so TaToH comes back up against the wall seemingly. Now that all his raids have been cleaned up, but saying that Villese still a bit of threat here, but TaToH losing that bombard. So that mining camp just being taken out because it just means your opponent doesn't know exactly when you're going to run out of gold. Otherwise he probably could have these guys here with the fight, because it looks like TaToH is trying to break free of this now. Although that's really rough, he's not able to finish off that town centre. Oh, he might be able to in the end, but he's going to lose a couple of villages for doing so. Well, Villese mounting the pressure over here. Forcing back that bombard. Doesn't want to have to be repairing the castle all game, because it's starting to get a bit stone expensive, and he doesn't want to have to spend gold to get more stone, because there's only a limited amount of that too. Because once you're talking spending food or wood to get gold to get stone, it just gets way too expensive. Halbs here, trying to clean up this big raid from the light cav. So the light cav will go down really quickly, I think, because there's only a small number of halbs there. They're not really quite able to get on the villages as much as he'd like. And DC continuing to clean up the back of TaToH's base, and he's been really unsuccessful here in trying to get this castle down. Big raid here, and halbs once again. DC just streaming everything he's got now across the field, because once again he's cleaned up all the raids, but TaToH massing up that skirmisher camel army here. He's gonna probably need to bring these forward so he can start taking out the houses, and if he can really start to have TaToH on the ropes here, because his wood eco is limited, with TaToH a healthy military at the moment seemingly. But Villese, his economy, he's now in the driver's seat. I think he's largely been playing from behind the eco for most of the early game, but now it's TaToH who's trailing by about 15 villages. Not quite enough villages to repair this castle, and again, Villese sort of forgotten about these two trebs. He probably could have had them taking out some structures over here. It's not like TaToH's got all the wood in the world. He's taking a bit of a fight here. TaToH on top top of Villese's gold mine here, but is he going to start working away at some of those houses? Villese largely running out of an army here. Has he seen that he's got these idle trebs, or is he just intending to save them for the minute? Because, I mean, he really could creep forward with those and start working away at these structures at the same time. As we go at the wood line here. Capped rams now. So going to hit even harder, have a slightly more armor as well, and GG. Villese takes the game.